Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. So, she doesn't give a shit about how you feel about the sexless relationship. And this episode has been inspired by one of the gentlemen who's been an absolute legend, who took action. I told you guys you have to go to thriving_tribesmen on our Instagram and book a session. Now, this is a free seduction blueprint. What we do is ask you a series of questions where we actually figure out what has caused your sexless relationship to happen. So we figured that out. So and then I needed to figure out the next bit, which was what has he done in order to fix this? So instead of diving into those questions, and as I was going through those questions, I asked him, what have you done to do so? So he told me that they've had series of talks in order to to figure out how to change this sexless relationship. And then there was another question that I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper. I said, what did you say exactly? So take me through the last time, a few times, what did you say exactly? And he started walking me through exactly what he was saying. And he took this frame of mind of, I feel unwanted, I feel depressed, I feel like we're not close. And these are the things that you were saying in order to get his partner to respond. I said, there's a reason why that didn't work. So I started walking him through why it didn't work. And I'm hoping that I can take you through this process so you can understand why that process doesn't work. Because a lot of you guys are making the same mistake where you are communicating how you feel in order to change the sex relationship. Now, if her understanding how you feel was the only thing that she needed in order to feel seduction towards you, or at least to respond seductively towards you, then she would have responded way before you got to a sexual relationship. What do I mean? If you feeling dejected was of importance to her or priority to her, she would have responded to it when the trajectory of the relationship sexually was going on a decline. This decline of sex, of a sexless relationship, isn't happening to you. It's happening to the relationship. So again, this is another part and the nuanced part of the mind that you have to think about it. Because you guys, you've taken this upon yourself that this decline is happening to you, and you've made it seem like she's just somebody who's out there who's not responding, and the sexual thing is only happening to you. That sexual thing is also happening to her. She is suffering just as much as you're suffering. She knows that there's a requirement for this relationship to work in that sex. She's got a sexual block. Whatever's blocking her sexually is causing her to feel shitty about herself. She doesn't know how to get out of that funk. And therefore, when you come and communicate and say, this is how it's making me feel, she might feel a sense of empathy towards the fact that her actions are causing you to feel something negative. But what it doesn't do is cause her to then feel responsive to your seduction. Never. Impossible. Never will happen. So it's very important to understand this, that it's the sexual decline isn't happening to you as an individual within this interaction between you and your wife. It's something that is happening to the relationship. Your wife has got no fucking idea how to fix it, and neither do you, especially if you communicate in the fact that you're a victim. In fact, whenever you communicate that this is how it's making me feel, it further compounds the fact that you're weak and unattractive when you communicate that. And because it takes this sort of victim mindset. Now, the world it is right now, it empowers you when you take a victim position. So if you take this victim position, like you see it right now, I was really proud of my daughter the other day. There's a purse that my wife bought that is got rainbow on it, and my daughter was looking at it, and she's 11, so she kind of knows what's going on socially, and she goes, "Mom, I do support the LGBTQ. I don't know how to pronounce. Well, I don't know. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. I support them because I support them, but I don't want this purse. I don't like it. I don't want to wear it. So she had the presence of mind to say, you know what, I respect that, but I don't want to identify with any of that. What makes me proud is that those people are, the highest of pinnacle of people who take the victim mindset and use the victim mindset in order to control the majority. And this is what the world has got us into, where we think if we can just show the person that I'm a victim, then they will act based off of that. Now, within a relationship where you're trying to change a sexual state, there's no currency when you bring a victim mindset. It's got no currency, it's got no value. So it's very important that when you start communicating, communicating from the lack of sex is making me feel this way. It's a terrible position, and it will compound you being in a sexless relationship. So just to wrap it up in a pretty bow and give you a visual of this, I was listening to a report about the plane crash in Japan, and my prayers go to the families that have lost loved ones because of the earthquake. But I was quite interested with what happened at the airport, because when I started learning how to be an engineer, I started off in aerospace, so I've got an understanding of the features that are put into aeroplanes in order to maintain safety, and one of them is a transponder. Now, the transponder is for a plane to tell the other planes where the location is, but at the same time, it's got a function to receive from other transponders, so it knows where the other planes are. So while it's critical to have that up in the skies to know the location of other planes, the reason why you want to know that is that whenever they get too close, they can take evasive maneuvers to prevent any crashes. But the place where you've got the highest risk of a plane crash is usually when it's coming into land or when it's taking off. And in this case, this is exactly what happened, because as the other plane was coming into land, the one that's coming into land had a transponder, so it's giving out information, and it had the capacity to receive information, and he was doing that perfectly okay. And the one that was taken off did not have the capacity, it did not transponder, so it wasn't giving out any information, and he wasn't receiving any information. So therefore, it ended up going, and then when it was so close, the pilots got to see that they were about to crash. They took in evasive maneuvers. Fortunately, they managed to save people's lives, but at the same time, some people passed away along that plane crash, which is absolutely saddening. But your communication within your relationship is like this, that you out there communicating that you are a victim, this sexless relationship is causing you this ill effect problem, and by you doing so, you think that the other person is listening. Now this is what you're doing. You're communicating, but the other person they're not receiving exactly what you're saying, because they've got no capacity to receive what you're saying, and neither can they communicate a viable way of avoiding this sexless situation. So inevitably, you're always going to end up in a place where you're not going to resolve this sexless relationship, because you're not communicating the right information, or at least you don't have the right mechanisms to have the correct communication to avoid a very difficult situation. So again, it's a very important piece, and I'll give you a visual to this. And this is how you guys are right now, where there's a lot of information that you're putting out there, but your partner has no capacity to see or feel or hear or understand what you're trying to communicate. Because everything that you're communicating right now, even if they do receive it, it's of no value to them. No value whatsoever. So you need to stop communicating that. Again, if you want to learn more about this and get your free blueprint, like how we've taken 239 men that we took through this blueprint, 239 men that we've helped and empowered them in their relationships in 2023, you're going to be one of the 250. Well, we're aiming for 250 this year. I'm going to be smashing it quite hard, making you guys empowered within your relationships so you can have better, more fulfilling relationships. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.